At the center of this mystery is 42-year-old Arun Shrestha. On a Tuesday night in Kathmandu, he stepped into his apartment and simply stopped existing. When police arrived, they found the main door deadbolted from the inside. Windows were latched, the balcony completely sealed. It was a structural impossibility. For a person to leave that space, they would have had to pass through solid matter. The building's digital record shows a strange gap. At exactly 2:17 a.m., the fourth-floor security camera cut to static for 11 minutes. Meanwhile, the entrance and parking cameras recorded normally, showing a completely empty building. No one entered or left. In the middle of the rumpled bedsheets, investigators found a single piece of paper. It had 3 numbers written in black ink: 217. The numbers on the bed match the time of the camera blackout to the second. At the precise moment the building's digital eyes were shut, a physical marker was left behind. Searching the hallway, police encountered an elderly neighbor who had been awake that night. She told them she heard the sound of heavy footsteps in the corridor at 2:17 a.m. She didn't hear a door open or close. Instead, she heard 3 distinct knocks coming from the end of the hall, at the door of a storage room that had been locked since the building was finished. The storage room held a connection to a cold case from 7 years ago. A tenant named Nishan Bhandari had disappeared from this same floor under identical circumstances. A locked room, a camera failure, and a note reading 217. 2 men, 7 years apart, vanished from the same floor of the same building using the exact same signature. The pattern suggested that Arun's disappearance was tied to the history of the building itself, a mechanism that had been used once before. Arun's personal computer revealed he was obsessed with Nishan's case. Shortly before he vanished, he had even transferred money into a bank account that had been inactive since Nishan's disappearance. Forensic teams recovered a photograph Arun had saved, showing Nishan alive and well. They also found a series of deleted messages from an anonymous source, telling Arun to meet them in the storage room at 2:17 a.m. When police finally broke into that storage room, they moved a heavy metal panel on the back wall. It didn't lead to another room, but to a dark, vertical shaft. This 3D model shows a hidden passage running from the 4th floor down to the basement, connecting to a tunnel in an adjacent building. This architectural bypass allowed movement to the street without ever stepping in front of a lens or monitored door. The locked room was a distraction. The building had been weaponized with a private exit, hidden in plain sight. At the exit of that secret tunnel, police discovered a small, motion-activated camera. The final clip on the drive was recorded at 2:17 a.m. In the footage, Arun enters the tunnel and is met by a man waiting in the shadows. When the light hits the second man's face, investigators identified him as Arun's own brother. Under questioning, the brother admitted that Nishan shell companies to siphon millions from construction projects. He knew that as long as he existed, he was a target. Faking his death was the only way to survive. The secret passages served as an escape hatch for those the system was trying to eliminate. These were calculated exits, designed to let people vanish when the pressure became too great. But the brother wasn't the one who had messaged Arun. The trap had been set by the very police officer who had investigated Nishan's case 7 years ago and ensured it remained unsolved. Recognizing the danger, Arun used the passage to meet Nishan and went into hiding. 7 days later, after the officer was distracted by the widening investigation, Arun walked into a different precinct with enough evidence to protect himself. The documents Arun provided led to the immediate seizure of bank records and the arrest of several high-ranking officials. The trail of construction fraud Nishan had started tracking years ago was finally linked to the current city contracts. While the fraud was exposed, the numbers 217 remain an anomaly. Arun says it was just a meeting time, but the identical camera failure 7 years prior suggests a much more technical coordination. The syndicate was dismantled, but the signal survived. If 217 appears on the timeline again, it means the architecture is being used once more. Someone else is about to walk through a wall.